I'm Godi Dor from God's Furniture, and I support local television. You're watching CHEK News.
From the capital, this is a BC News and Weather Update. Here's Scott V.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making headlines around the province right now. We're going to start with international news, as these are very anxious hours for a number of BC families as they're waiting for word on the fate of their loved ones who are in Haiti right now. There is widespread devastation this morning after a magnitude 7 earthquake hit yesterday, just 16 kilometers from the capital. The number of dead is still unconfirmed, though some reports put it in the thousands. More than 30 aftershocks have been recorded since the quake hit. Hundreds of thousands spent the night on the street fearing more aftershocks. Many buildings in the capital are destroyed, including the presidential palace. Now, Reuters is reporting that several bodies have been recovered from the wreckage of the UN headquarters. Many peacekeepers and staff are still missing, and people are using their bare hands to dig through the rubble to find survivors. Several countries have pledged to help with rescue efforts. Foreign Affairs Minister Lawrence Cannon says Canada is also getting ready to send aid to the impoverished nation. The disaster sent panic-stricken people screaming into the streets as clouds of dust and smoke from falling buildings rose into the sky. It's the most powerful quake to hit the impoverished Caribbean island nation in 200 years. And we'll keep you up to date on the situation there right here on CHEK News throughout the day. A state of emergency is still in place for the city of Courtenay. Some are calling it a perfect storm of rain, melting snow, and high tide, causing several rivers to burst their banks yesterday. Water levels have since receded, but as Dean Stoltz reports, the threat of flooding still exists.
For only the fourth time in 20 years, but the second time in 2 months, the streets of Courtenay are fast-flowing torrents of water. This after 3 rivers burst their banks late Monday, the Solom, the Puntledge, and the Browns River that rose to the doors of trailers in Maple Pool Campground, forcing 46 residents from their homes.
I was just going to sleep, and Jen was knocking on the door, and this is way deeper than last time.
The water came up pretty quick?
Yes. After 9 o'clock, we have police, we have rescue team.
Residents are taken to an emergency reception center, then spend the night in hotels. Several roads in East Courtenay are closed all night, and the 5th Street Bridge, a main east-west connector, is also closed.
The scenario has to sort of be perfect for this to occur, and it's a combination of the high tide, a gusty southeast wind, heavy rain, and this time it was warm temperatures that really played a part in it.
The rain stops for most of the night, but the temperature at 2 a.m. is 12 degrees, accelerating snowmelt in area mountains. And most of that water ends up in the Comox Lake Reservoir, which rose 2.3 meters over 48 hours, the second largest inflow of water into the reservoir on record. And as water spills over the top of BC Hydro's dam into the Puntledge River, hydro officials say they've now lost their ability to control inflows into the reservoir.
We've run out of room. We're at the bathtub's full. So we need to think ahead to Friday, where there's another storm event unfolding, and where the reservoir is now. So we need to kind of increase our river flows over the next few days.
By sunrise, most of the water has quickly receded, but businesses in the flood zone are in for another big cleanup, having just cleaned up November's mess.
We finished yesterday. The final touches were done and we were finished, yeah.
The storm's damage isn't confined to Courtenay. A car nearly drove into this hole on a bridge near Fanny Bay, caused when fast-moving water washed away material underneath. This boat is also a casualty of the storm, washed up on shore here in Bain Sound, just south of Courtenay. Back in Courtenay, the flood warning continues, and with several more high tides forecast this week, the danger isn't over yet.
We can tell you right now that many of the flood warnings and flood watches have been downgraded. A high stream flow advisory is in effect for the Puntledge, the Solom rivers in Courtenay, Nanaimo River, and Ash River. A high school in Courtenay was put into lockdown yesterday afternoon after 2 young men armed with a large gun were spotted nearby. Police swarmed the school after teachers noticed that gun-wielding men, the 2 19-year-old males, were taken into custody and their rifle. which turned out to be an air gun. Police say they take all gun calls seriously, especially at schools. The two teens were later released and could face several charges. Saanich police are asking for the public's help as they are trying to locate a dangerous suspect wanted for outstanding warrants. 28-year-old Robert Lance Glover is believed to be in the Victoria area. Glover is wanted on several warrants, including assault with a weapon and escaping lawful custody. He's known to drive a jacked-up black 1979 GMC truck, possibly a Jimmy, with BC license plates BX3527. And if you see Glover, you're asked to call police. RCMP continue their investigation into an ugly case of animal cruelty. Sometime overnight Sunday, 4 dairy cows were stabbed. One was so severely butchered it was destroyed. Another is clinging to life. Kristen Robinson has more on this story.
Whoever it was ran a blade or something sharp across her rump here too.
Barbara Milley is still stunned after someone stabbed 4 of her farm's dairy cows.
Just really in shock and surprised. Why would anyone want to hurt some docile, healthy cows that are minding their own business?
Milley last saw her beloved bovines at 10:30 Sunday night. When her milker arrived at 4:30 Monday morning, the barn was a slaughterhouse.
She had about a 3-inch gash here, which was deep enough to go right through into the intestinal lining. The intestines came out in this cow.
Dr. Peter Park found one cow completely butchered. It had to be put down. This one had identical stab wounds on both sides and may not make it, while 2 others suffered several minor slashes.
That was sutured, and on the other side, she's on quite heavy doses of antibiotics, but it's obviously, to me, a malicious act. The level of cruelty, I mean, even to, is just incomprehensible, I think.
RCMP are seeing a rash of vandalism in the area of the Dove Creek Road farm, but nothing this disturbing. Crime Stoppers is offering an up to $2,000 reward for information leading to an arrest.
We'd like the public to assist us in apprehending the person responsible or persons responsible for this. Cruelty to animals cannot be condoned.
I hope they find whoever did this, because they shouldn't be out in the world. I think they should be locked up.
Okay, girl. Okay.
Milley's most seriously injured cow is being monitored for intestinal infections. It's hoped she won't succumb to the savage attack.
Greater Victoria Transit users have dodged new steep transit fares. Well, at least for now. The Regional Transit Authority has agreed to review its options on how to make up for an estimated $8 million revenue shortfall. All 3 options would have seen cash fares go up by 25 cents and monthly pass fares increase by $16. But in reaction to public backlash, the commissioners determined the hikes were too steep, too fast.
The fact that they felt that some of these recommended tariff increases were too high. And that's some of the comments they got back, and the commission members felt that as well. So we'll have another meeting to look at some other options.
One of the options being looked at would involve staggering the fare increases over a period of 3 years, as well as reducing service expansion. That's it for news for now. V. Cooper is standing by with a look at your weather forecast. Much more to come here on CHEK. Stay with us.